is a dream? In One Piece, that question is everything. It's the reason Roger laughed on the scaffold. It's the reason Luffy punches through admirals. The engine of the entire story. Oda has said it himself. One Piece is a story about chasing your dream. So here's what I need you to sit with for a second. Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard, the man who screams louder than anyone that a man's dream will never die, has never dreamed a single dream in his entire life. Not once, not ever. 40 years of waking conscious existence, no sleep, no rest, no dreams. And once you understand that, everything about Blackbeard stops being the story of a villain and starts being the most tragic story Oda has ever written inside his own story. Today we are going all the way in. This is not a theory video, this is a complete psychological and lore autopsy of the future or the destroyer of the One Piece world. We need to go back to Jaya, Mocktown, the bar. Luffy and Zoro have just heard the speech, the famous one. Inherited will, the tide of the age, and the dreams of people. As long as people continue to pursue the meaning of freedom, these things will never cease. Luffy and Zoro don't say, I don't know. They don't say a weirdo. They say, it's not he, it's they. For 20 plus years, fandom assumed this was Luffy and Zoro sensing the crew hidden nearby. That's the lazy answer. That's the answer that lets you close the book and move on. But now we know what observation haki actually does at its highest level. It doesn't just sense bodies. It senses the voice of a soul, the presence of a living will. If Luffy and Zoro, both unconscious haki users at this point, both running on pure instinct, when looking at one man standing alone in front of them, what were they actually feeling? They were feeling what Mako would confirm at Marineford years later with one line that the fandom has never fully unpacked. Mako doesn't say Teach is strong, he doesn't say he's cheating. You guys all know, Teach is a little different. The structure of his body is strange. Strange body structure, they, 3 skulls on the Jolly Roger, a 3-pronged claw that scarred a Yonko before he had any devil fruit at all, a man who cannot sleep, and the haki of 2 future kings sensing a plural presence in a singular man. In the SBS columns, Oda drew all the warlords as children. Most of them look like smaller versions of themselves. Mihawk is brooding, Hancock is fierce, Moria looks lost, but look at child Blackbeard. He is alone, it is night, there is a crescent moon, and he is crying, knees pulled to his chest, looking simultaneously terrified and furious. Now notice what he is wearing. Snow boots. Oda chose that. He chose the snow. You might remember a throwaway line in the Drum Kingdom arc. Luffy mentions something he heard from a guy in a bar, almost certainly Shanks. People in snowy countries can't sleep or they'll die. We laughed at it. We moved on. It felt like world-building flavor text. What if it was Blackbeard's entire backstory in 9 words? What if Marshall D. Teach was born somewhere so extreme, a sky island, a polar region, that his body adapted, that the survival mechanism became permanent, that the child who never slept to survive became the man who simply cannot? Or, and this is where it gets darker, what if it wasn't natural at all? Think about who else in One Piece deals with strange bodies and altered biology. Vegapunk, Judge Vinsmoke, the Mads Research Collective. We know Mads was active during Blackbeard's youth. Is Marshall D. Teach a natural-born human? Or is he the result of someone trying to build a perfect warrior, a soldier who never needs rest? A chimera, assembled from pieces, plural in nature by design? If his very existence is an act of science, not God, then his obsession with fate, with dreams, with the idea that a man's dream will never die, takes on a completely different meaning. He isn't celebrating dreams, he is mourning them. He is the one who was never supposed to have any. Now we have to talk about the ghost, Rox D. Xebec, the most dangerous pirate to ever exist before Roger. The man the world government scrubbed from history so completely that even hardcore marine scholars barely know his name. Rox made his base on Hachinosu. Blackbeard currently calls Hachinosu home. Rox gathered his crew through dominance. Blackbeard walked into level 6 of Impel Down and said, "Kill each other, survivors join me." Rox wanted to be king of the world. Blackbeard's flagship is named the Saber of Xebec. He didn't name it that for aesthetics. The God Valley incident happened 38 years ago. Blackbeard is 40 years old. He was approximately 2 years old when his potential father was destroyed by the combined force of Garp and Roger. Here is the theory that connects everything. Rocks falls at God Valley. In the chaos his infant son survives. Maybe found by Whitebeard in the aftermath. Maybe wandering alone until he's taken in. This explains something that has never made sense. Why did Whitebeard, the man who wanted a family above all else, who wept for his sons, keep someone with Blackbeard's nature on his ship for decades? Whitebeard knew who Teach was. He knew the blood. And he was trying to save him. He was trying to raise the son of his old captain and make him something different, something better. He failed. Because Blackbeard didn't just inherit Xebec's ambition, he inherited his patience, and improved on it. Xebec failed because he charged the celestial dragons head-on. Blackbeard is a spider. He waited, he planned. He spent decades hiding in the shadow of the strongest man in the world, waiting for one thing, the Yami Yami no Mi. Let's talk about the moves, because I want you to appreciate this the way a chess player appreciates a grandmaster. Move 1. Ace. He doesn't kill Thatcher's murderer and run. He captures Ace and hands him to the world government, not for a bounty, for warlord status. Why? Because warlord status gets him clearance into Impel Down. Move 2. Impel Down level 6. He doesn't want to conquer it. He walks into the deepest cage on Earth and runs a job interview where the entrance exam is murder your cellmate. Shiryu, Devon, Vasco shot. The most monstrous humans alive, instantly filtered for loyalty through shared criminality. Move 3. Marineford. He arrives at the exact moment Whitebeard is dying. Not too early, not too late. He kills the man who raised him. He steals a second devil fruit from a dead body. He announces to the entire world, this era is mine. And now, in the current story, watch what he is doing while Luffy fights the 5 elders on Egghead. He captures Kobe, not to kill him, but to force the world government to recognize Hachinosu as a legitimate kingdom. He wants a seat at the table. He wants legal protection. He ambushes Law after Wano, knowing that Law, Kid, or Luffy would leave with road poneglyph rubbings. He waits at the exit. He takes the map, and then there is Catarina Devon on Egghead, the QB model Zoan, the woman who can perfectly replicate anyone she has touched. She touched Saint Saturn, one of the 5 elders. Do you understand what that means? Blackbeard's crew now has the biometric key to the highest authority on the planet. They can walk into Marijwa. They can command the Seraphim. They can issue buster calls in the name of the celestial dragons. He is not trying to conquer the world government. He is preparing to wear it like a costume. For years, Caribou has been the joke character, the swamp man, the guy who shows up, gets beat up, and disappears. Oda hid the most dangerous plot device in the series inside a gag character. On Fishman Island, Caribou overheard Robin and Neptune discussing Poseidon, Shirahoshi's true identity as one of the 3 ancient weapons. On Wano, he overheard the Straw Hats talking about Pluton. Every time he said the same thing, I have to tell that person, they'll be so happy. In the latest chapters, we finally see who that person is. It's Blackbeard. Think about what this means. Every other emperor is chasing road poneglyphs, chasing the map to Laugh Tale. It is an enormous, dangerous treasure hunt. Blackbeard is about to skip the map entirely. He doesn't need Laugh Tale if he controls the weapons. Shirahoshi is Poseidon. She commands the Sea Kings. That's not a weapon. That is the ocean itself. And Blackbeard is the only villain in this story crazy enough to actually use it. Kaido wanted a war to die in. Big Mom wanted a dinner table. Blackbeard wants to flip the board over and watch everything scatter. Why did Blackbeard wait decades for the Yami Yami no Mi specifically? Darkness is gravity. It swallows everything. Not even light can escape. Now we know about Nika, the sun god, the warrior of liberation, Luffy's Gear 5, a power so absurd it rewrites the rules of reality. His heartbeat is the drums of liberation. He fights with freedom and laughter and physics that makes no sense. Blackbeard is the silence between the drum beats. The Yami Yami no Mi is the direct, intentional counter to Nika. Where Nika is limitless imagination, darkness is absolute nullification. Touch a devil fruit user and their power vanishes. The magic disappears. They become mortal. Picture the final battle. Luffy in Gear 5, white hair, cartoon physics, laughing, bouncing, warping reality around him like it's clay. Blackbeard grabs his wrist, the white goes dark, the rubber becomes flesh, the drums stop. Zeha ha ha, in front of me, Straw Hat. You are just a man. That is what Blackbeard represents. He is the reality check. He is the one who can wake the dreamer up. And in a world built entirely on the power of dreams, the man who can end your dream is the most dangerous thing alive. So, how does he lose? Kaido answered this before he fell into the magma at Wano. He said it clearly, and the fandom treated it like a cool moment and moved on. But Oda was writing the instruction manual for the final arc. Devil fruit abilities alone cannot conquer the world. Haki transcends all. Blackbeard is the ultimate devil fruit maximalist. He hunts them, he collects them. He has built his entire philosophy around the idea that the right power makes you unstoppable. Luffy is the opposite. He has the most ridiculous fruit in history. A fruit so stupid that for the first 20 years of the story, the entire world thought it was just a rubber man. But Luffy mastered all 3 forms of Haki, and beyond that, he mastered Gear 5 not through strategy or acquisition, but through the complete freedom of his own spirit. Roger had no devil fruit at all. He reached Laugh Tale and became king of the pirates with nothing but will. Blackbeard's darkness can swallow power, but it cannot swallow will. It cannot swallow the conquering spirit of a man who has never once considered giving up. In the end, Blackbeard's reliance on devil fruits is not a strength, it is evidence of his wound. He has spent 40 sleepless years trying to shortcut his way to something he cannot name, and shortcuts don't beat someone who earned everything the hard way. I want to come back to where we started. He cannot sleep. 40 years. Not a single night of rest, not one dream. Biologically, humans begin hallucinating after a few days without sleep. After 11 days, the body begins to shut down. The fact that Teach is alive at 40 means that Marshall D. Teach is not operating by the normal rules. But here is what I keep coming back to. In One Piece, dreams are not just ambition. They are the literal mechanism by which the human soul restores itself. They are where you process your fear and your loss and your hope. They are where you go when the world is too much. Luffy dreams. Roger dreamed. Even Whitebeard, dying on the battlefield, died chasing the dream of a family. Blackbeard cannot go there, that door is closed to him, so he does the only thing he can. He acts his dreams out in the waking world, he performs them. He chases the One Piece not just for power, but because somewhere in whatever constitutes his soul, he believes that if he becomes Pirate King, it will finally be enough, that he can finally stop, that whatever is broken in him will be fixed. A man's dream will never die. He doesn't scream that to inspire others. He screams it so he doesn't forget why he's still going. And when Luffy beats him, when the sun rises on the longest night in the history of the world, it won't just be a defeat. It will be a release.